Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the Interreg NPA Youth Call launch. We are still waiting for the remaining participants to join us. We are expecting around 90 participants, so it may take a while until everyone finds the link and joins us. But meanwhile, we can start by introducing us. Hello everyone, my name is Lucia Brhlikova. I'm the project desk officer at the Joint Secretariat, and I'm based in Copenhagen. And today with me will be presenting my colleague Kalle Pakkalan.
Hello.
Kalle, where are you based?
I'm currently based in Finland, in Kajaani at the moment.
Thank you. And we have also our other colleagues with us here today. So maybe can I start with my colleague Christopher Parker. Hello, Christopher. Can you unmute yourself?
Muted now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today. I'm Christopher Parker, and I'm responsible for project development and project support. So this is one of many things that we do, and it's actually quite an exciting call that we've got going here. So welcome to it.
Thank you. Kirsti?
Hello, everybody. Kirsti Meinheimer. I'm head of Secretariat, and we are based in Copenhagen.
Thank you. And then there is our other colleague from Copenhagen, Michaela.
Good afternoon, everyone. Michaela, also from Copenhagen, from the Secretariat.
And from our managing authority, there is Annika here with us today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Annika Blomster, and I'm the head of the managing authority based at the Västerbotten County Administrative Board in Umeå, Sweden.
Thank you. And we have also another colleague, Stefan, who could not join us today. He's also based in Umeå, and he's the program controller. Yes, I see we are almost halfway through the participants, but some of them are still joining, so we can wait one more minute before we start. We have a busy agenda ahead of us, but we made sure to reserve enough time for your questions at the end. So we hope to make it all in time.
I think we also have some of our regional contact points joining us today. I see at least Reinhard from Iceland already logged in, and Maiju from Finland. And who else?
I think I've seen Travis.
Yes, still dropping in.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know who the regional contact points are, those are people on the ground. In every NPA country, we have a person that is available for your questions or comments or discuss the project ideas with you. And a bonus is that you can do it in your native language. We speak English, and then some of our colleagues, of course, Finnish and Swedish. But with the regional contact points, you can do it in also Greenlandic or Norwegian if you feel that's more comfortable for you. Very well. I think we have more than 50 people joining us today. Should we start, Kalle?
Yes, maybe we should start. We have quite a few things to go through, so
Good.
Let's go ahead. So things good to know before we start. We are recording this webinar, and the recording will be published on the Youth Call page, so you can go back to the information and check what we went through. And please keep yourself muted when not speaking, of course, and open cameras are absolutely welcome unless you want to hide yourself from the recording, and ask your questions at the end or write them in the chat. So we have a chat and there's a question and answers at the end of the session. Good. And about the agenda. So this is a launch for the Youth Call. So we will go through the basics and what is different with this call, for example, related to our usual calls. And we will not go into very technical specifics at this point. That will be then relevant maybe later on. We will go through the themes in the Youth Call, about the durations, about the budgets, about the partners and what types of partners are eligible to apply, what types of activities and outcomes are expected from the youth projects. We will talk a little bit about the youth criteria, which is very important. That makes this different from our other calls. We will talk briefly about the application process and the support that we have provided and tailored for these applicants and projects. And of course, some links to keep in mind and further information and how to follow the progress on how the Youth Call is developing. I will start with telling a little bit about the background of this call. And I'll start saying that the Northern Periphery and Arctic is a region that is full of contrasts. And we have and see a lot of creativity, there's strong local engagement and many opportunities. But at the same time, there are real challenges, long distances, limited access to services, and social and environmental conditions that are changing very fast. And because of this, we see that cooperation is really important and it really matters. And working transnationally helps us find solutions that actually fit the local needs. And this time around, the NPA program wanted to try something a little bit different. So it's the Youth Call. And in this Youth Call that is launched and published today, we are putting young people at the center, not just as participants in projects, but as leaders and creators. So we want to support young people in shaping their own communities and give them the confidence, skills, and voice to turn their ideas into action. And in doing so, we also hope to raise the next generation of Interreg actors. For us, this Youth Call is about real impact in our communities, impact created by.
Yeah, Kalle, you're breaking slightly. We've heard your internet connection is unstable.
For young people. And when developing the survey, okay, I'm
yes,
back now.
Back.
Okay, yes, sorry about the connection. Okay, good. I'll go back a little bit. So in this Youth Call that was launched and published today, we're putting young people at the center and not just as participants in projects, but as leaders and creators. That is the core idea. And when developing the Youth Call, we started with a survey to better understand the interest, needs, and possibilities among organizations already working with youth. Based on what we learned, we designed and dedicated a call that works a bit differently from the regular calls. It's more flexible, it's easier to access, and better suited for smaller organizations and also organizations that are applicants for the first time. By supporting youth-led cooperation across the region, we aim to strengthen local communities, empower young people, and contribute to a more inclusive and resilient future in the North. Next slide, please. So about the themes. To shape the Youth Call, we didn't just start by deciding the themes ourselves. Instead, we directly went to the young people and asked them through the survey I just mentioned what actually is important to them. And based on the answers, we identified a set of key themes that reflect the realities the young people are facing across the NPA today. One important area is resilient communities. Here the focus is on helping communities become stronger and better prepared for different kinds of challenges, whether that's climate change, natural hazards, or social and economic pressures. Projects that apply under this theme are about learning together, building skills locally, and making sure communities can adapt, recover, and continue to thrive. Another strong theme is natural and cultural heritage. Young people told us that they care deeply about the places they live in, both the natural environment and their local culture. Projects under this theme can focus on protecting biodiversity, strengthening climate resilience, and promoting sustainable ways of living, while also celebrating local traditions, history, and their cultural identity. Mental health and well-being is also a key priority. Projects in this area focus on supporting young people to live healthier, more balanced lives through preventive actions, awareness, and activities that promote well-being in everyday life. We also heard clearly that young people want to support to build their future. That's why youth skills and entrepreneurship is another core theme. This is about helping young people develop skills, prepare for work, or explore entrepreneurship, and addressing challenges like youth unemployment, which is often a big issue in remote and sparsely populated areas. Community development is about giving young people a real say. These projects support youth involvement in shaping their communities, taking part in planning processes and influencing decisions that affect their lives. This can also include bringing innovation and digital solutions into local public services. Finally, there's peer learning and mentoring. This theme is about young people learning from each other, sharing experiences, skills, and ideas across regions and borders. With the right guidance and mentorship, these projects help young people grow together and focus on the issues they find most meaningful. All of these themes come directly from young people themselves, and together they form the foundation of the Youth Call and reflect our ambition to support projects that are relevant, youth-led, and rooted in the local realities across the region. Next slide.
Yes, thank you, Kalle. And now I will answer the question of how long can these projects run. So the applicants can choose from 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months duration. It's also to be noted that the final report is expected within the 3 months after the project finishes, so reserve some time to that at the end. And if you are wondering when should be the project starting, it's almost in a year from now, around February or March 2027. And another important question that many of you are wondering about is what are the project's budget? So keeping in mind the different projects' durations, we also adjusted the maximum budgets to fit these durations. So 6 months long projects can apply for up to 50,000 euros. 12 months projects can apply for up to 100,000 euros. And projects running for 18 months can apply for up to 200,000 euros. It's also important to keep in mind that these are the maximum project budgets that include already the NPA grant, which is in most cases 65% of the partner budget, and partners need to cover the remaining 35% themselves. For the Norwegian partners, the split is 50-50. So the NPA covers 50% and the Norwegian partners cover the remaining 50% of their budget. To help partner organizations cover initial project costs, we decided to include a startup support payment, which will be a one-time payment of up to 35,000 euros or 50% of the total project budget. And this payment will be released to the project at the beginning of its activities. For example, if a project is running for 6 months and has a budget of 50,000 euros, the maximum amount of this startup support will be 25,000 euros. And of this startup support, NPA grant will cover 65%, and for most of the partners and only for Norwegian partners, it's 50%. After the startup payment, the projects are expected to submit their reports for every 6 months, in which they are confirming the agreed deliverables and outputs for that period. Once these reports are assessed, a lump sum payment will be released to the project. The amount of each lump sum payment is agreed with the Joint Secretariat, with us, at the beginning of the project, based on the project budget submitted in the application.
So who can be partners in the youth projects? So in short, it's open and inclusive. So the Youth Call is open to all types of organizations, public or private, experienced Interreg organizations, as well as completely new to the Interreg NPA program. And what really matters is not the background, but your connection to young people. So any organization working with or for young people up to the age of 35 can participate as long as young people are given a meaningful role in delivering the project. So they shouldn't be just named in the project, they should be actively involved in shaping and running the activities. In terms of geography, organizations are expected to be based in the NPA region. And the light blue areas in the map show you where they are. Or the organization should have a national remit that covers the NPA region. So for example, a national youth organization based in a capital city like Oslo, Stockholm, or Dublin can still be part of a project as long as they can demonstrate that they represent the whole country or provide some expertise that isn't available otherwise elsewhere in that country. But it's always a matter of checking with us at the Secretariat, and it's always a case-by-case decision. So it's not an automatic thing. So partners from outside the NPA are not automatically excluded, but these cases are assessed individually. And if you're unsure, as I said, I would encourage to be in touch with your regional contact point and or the Joint Secretariat to discuss whether it makes sense for your project. But overall, the message is simple. If you work with young people, involve them meaningfully and have a clear connection to the NPA region, it sounds good for the call. Next slide, please. Yeah, talk about the partnership requirements and the minimum requirements. It might sound, for the new ones, it might sound a bit difficult, but it's actually not that complicated. For 6-month projects in this youth call, you need partners from at least 2 program partner countries, and at least one of these countries must be an EU member state. And on top of that, we recommend including partners from at least 2 of the 3 geographical zones in the NPA area. And a helpful way of thinking about this is to start with the zones. So the NPA region has been divided into 3 zones. There's the sort of core Scandinavian countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and then there's the Atlantic region, and then we have Ireland as its own region. And for a 6-month project, we recommend that your partnership covers at least 2 of them. So some examples. Ireland and Iceland works because Ireland is an EU member state and the country requirement is met. Norway and Iceland does not work because neither country is an EU member. Sweden and Ireland, fine. Finland and Greenland also works. Sweden and Finland are both in the same zone. This is still acceptable because covering 2 zones is a recommendation. It's not a strict rule. But it will make the project stronger if you have partners from at least 2 different zones. For the 12 and 18-month projects, the logic stays the same, but the partnership needs to be slightly larger. So here you need partners from at least 3 program partner countries, again with at least 1 EU member state involved. And again, it's recommended to include partners from at least 2 of the 3 zones. So examples could be Ireland, Iceland, Sweden, which nicely cover all 3 zones, or Finland, Norway, and Faroe Islands, which covers 2 out of the 3 zones. So the takeaway is that start by making sure you have the right number of countries and at least 1 EU member state. Then think about the geographical zones, and if you do that, the partnership requirement becomes much easier to navigate. The more transnational your partnership, the stronger the transnational project criteria is for the selection, which is the core thing for the NPA program. And also something I need to mention at this point is about the funding. So currently, if you are applying from Norway as a Norwegian partner candidate, check the availability of your national funding first with your regional contact point. It's very important because there's a lack of funding in Norway, and it needs to be checked what is possible. The same thing goes also for Iceland and Faroe Islands, but there's an additional funding mechanism for these two, which can be used, making the situation slightly better. Yes. And then the next slide, please. Then a little bit about the different types of partners. First, the lead partner. The lead partner is the organization that coordinates the project overall. They take responsibility for managing the partnership, about the reporting, keeping everything on track. And for the youth call, the lead partner must be a public organization and needs to be based in the NPA region or have a national remit that covers the NPA area. Then we have project partners, the regular partners. These are the organizations that actively take part in delivering the project. They work together, design and implementing activities. They co-create the outputs, and they each have an assigned budget. Project partners are also expected to be based in the NPA region or to have a national remit covering the area. And finally, associated partners. Associated partners don't receive a project budget, but they can still have a very important role. And they can often bring valuable expertise, experience, or networks to the project. While they don't manage funds directly, certain costs related to their involvement can be covered through a linked project partner. So in short, the lead partner coordinates, project partner deliver and co-create, and associate partners support with knowledge and connections. And together these roles allow you to build a strong and balanced partnership that fits your project idea. And it's very important also to think about the associated partners in this youth call, because they are the footwork, they are there on the ground directly with the target groups for the youth call.
Thank you. And let's now have a look at what youth projects can do. To simplify what these projects are expected to deliver within their durations and with available budgets, we created 3 categories of the projects that will indicate you what they are meant to achieve. So starting with a 6 months project, they are ideal for organizations with a little or no experience in transnational cooperation. We call them See It because they allow partners to literally go out and see which other similar-minded organizations there are in the wide NPA area. These projects are expected to find and build connections with similar-minded organizations and people, reach out to them, map their expertise, meaning what these organizations are good at or what do they want to learn from the others. Partners can meet and possibly organize up to 1 workshop and get to know each other better and discuss whether future collaborations would be possible. At the end of these 6 months, the projects are expected to deliver what we call a stakeholder map, meaning an overview of the organizations relevant for the project idea that could possibly become partners in the bigger NPA project. And other outputs would also include a draft of this project idea or suggestions for future networks and collaborations. And then projects running for 12 months, they are called Shape It, and they are meant for organizations with some experience in transnational cooperation and existing regional connections. So following the seed phase, where they identified like-minded organizations and exchanged the ideas, expertise and knowledge. They move to the second phase, where they actually bring the knowledge, skills, and expertise from other regions to their home regions and try to shape them to fit their local conditions and environments. The 12 months duration allows for more workshops and exchanges where partners can share and apply knowledge locally. At the end of these 12 months, the project is expected to deliver what we call a feasibility study, meaning a practical analysis that looks at what a project idea can do, how it can work in the practice, what worked during the testing in the local environments, what didn't work, what needs to be adjusted, and in general, how this idea could be rolled out on a local, regional, or national level. And lastly, projects running for 18 months are designed for organizations with experience in transnational cooperation and well-established networks. They cover all three phases: see it, shape it, and now make it work. And the projects are going to do exactly what their name suggests. They are going to make it work, what they learned from elsewhere. Because these projects have more time and resources, they are expected to connect with relevant organizations. That's the see it phase. Then they will learn from them and test the ideas locally. That is the shape it phase. But then they will come up with recommendations how these ideas can be taken up on a local, regional, or national level. And those are the policy recommendations that are expected from these projects to be delivered after the 18 months. So just to summarize the logic a little bit, the see it phase. In this phase, projects look around who is there to collaborate with and what do they have to offer. In shape it phase, they choose a practice or a knowledge that they want to test on a local level and try to shape it to their local needs. And in the make it work phase, they build on the results that came out of these testings and shaping the ideas. And they develop policy recommendations, how these learnings can be adapted at the local, regional, and national level and become a part of everyday practice.
And then the youth criteria. So the reason why this call is different from our regular calls and something that is very important to understand. So to ensure that youth projects deliver solutions created by youth for youth, the NPA program has introduced a specific youth criteria that all applications must meet. So the youth criteria means youth-led, first of all. So young people are involved in developing the project idea, they're involved implementing the activities, and that they're represented in the project decision-making bodies. Then they have to be youth-focused. So that means that the project addresses a specific challenge or need identified by young people, clearly showing how the solution developed will benefit them. And finally, it have to be youth inclusive. And what it means is, in practice, that at least one partner in the project, including associated partners, must be a youth organization. A youth organization is an organization that actively works on issues that matter to young people in the Northern Periphery and Arctic regions. So, for example, a university is not a youth organization, but they can, of course, participate in the project if all the other settings are correct and the youth criteria is met. This requirement is there to make sure that projects are genuinely connected to young people and their realities. It helps ensure that youth perspectives are built into the project from the start, not added at the end. So as long as you have at least one organization in the partnership that truly represents or works closely with young people in the region, you are meeting this requirement. And a little bit about the application process. So when the application opens, You will be able to submit your application through the Joint Electronic Monitoring System, GEMS. And when you want to sign in or send in an application and register, you need to make sure that you register through this particular address in the slide. So there are other GEM systems out there that other programs use, and they look a little bit similar from the login page. So make sure that you log in to the Interreg NPA GEMS system. That's the first thing. And once you're registered, you're able to go in and open the application. And this will open later on, so it's not available now. The call opens officially 10th June and closes on 2nd October this year. And also to mention that when putting together the application, you will find, or you will need to put in lead partner and partner statements, and you can download the templates from our website for this. And it's good to do this in good hand, because in good time, because you need to make sure that you have the eligibility criteria met with the participating partners. So these need to be uploaded into GEMS before submitting the application.
Good. And because we are aware that some of the organizations that we are reaching now with this youth call may have no experience with Interreg NPA funding, we created a dedicated series of supporting tools and meetings that we will be presenting from now until June, or in some cases until the call closes. We call them the Youth Track, and you are very much invited to join them all to get the best overview of how to fill in the application and how to create your project, how to develop your project idea. We hope that after this support, even organizations with no previous experience will be able to submit the winning project applications. So we start by 3 online webinars. The first one will take place in March, and each of these will focus on different parts of applications. So the March webinar will guide you through how to turn your first idea into a project that fits the Interreg NPA specifications, and we will include also some examples and tips how to write good applications. Then we see again online in June, shortly after the application opened in GEMS, and we will together have a closer look at the application in GEMS, meaning the budget, what is an eligible expenses, how to plan the activities, and how to create a communication plan. And the last online webinar will be shortly before the call closes. It will be in September. And we offer you a session where you can ask us anything and about the GEMS. So if you have any questions about the application or how to submit it in GEMS, this is the place to go. Also, to simplify the application process, we split it into 2 parts. And the part 1 is focusing on assessing whether the project idea is fitting the NPA conditions, whether you have the right partnership, and whether you are meeting the youth criteria that Carla presented earlier. For this, we are offering a feedback round. So if you want to be part of it, you can fill in the application template, part 1, and send it to us by the 20th of May. And we will come back to you with the feedback by 10th of June. The feedback will include comments and observations from the Joint Secretariat and also the regional contact points. So very valuable knowledge and feedback to receive. On the same day, 10th of June, the call will officially open in GEMS. So if you will log in now to GEMS, you will find nothing about the youth call yet. It will all appear on the 10th of June. And just to complete the timeline, the call will close on the 2nd of October. It closes at lunchtime, so 11:59 CET, and again lunchtime. And because this youth call is designed to help young people and organizations working together across the Northern Periphery and the Arctic on shared challenges, we think it's also worth to mention what types of activities we are not able to support, just to distinguish us and let everyone know this beginning if this call is something for you or not. So the NPA Youth Call is not meant to replace other education or mobility programs, such as Erasmus Plus, that many of you are familiar with. We also cannot support any individual grants granted to individuals. Like it has been mentioned many times today, we support only organizations. We also cannot support any internships, traineeships, scholarships, or any exchanges or twinning activities between the schools or any educational programs. This being said, we still think there is a lot of other areas where we can offer our support, and we are looking forward to reading your applications. Before we open the floor to the questions, we still included some links that we think are useful for you to remember. So first of all, our Youth Call page, which should be your main go-to place. All the information and terms of reference for this Youth Call is published there. And as we go along, we will also add offline templates that you can work with and other guidelines and instructions. Our other very useful place to look into is our program manual that I called NPA Encyclopedia, because you will find answers for your questions there as well and explanations of all the terms that we are using in our application process. And lastly, if you are on LinkedIn, we recommend that you check our partner search portal. This is a public group with more than 100 members, and the people and organizations that have a project idea, they can present it there and ask if there are any other organizations who want to join them or if they want to elaborate on the idea. So if you have any idea or if you want to just say that you are open for collaborations, feel free to introduce yourself in this group. And lastly, as mentioned at the beginning, we also included contact information for our regional contact points, our 7 people available in NPA countries where you can, to who you can reach out to and discuss your project ideas or ask questions in your native language. As part of the ongoing support, we are also offering one-on-one consultations. These are the email addresses for Kala and me. Feel free to reach out to us and book a consultation with us if you have, again, any questions or want to discuss the project idea. This was all from us, and now we will open floor for the questions. So I will stop sharing, and first I can look into chat and start from beginning. Okay, there is actually a question to Maju from Pia Pitkänen. Is it okay, Maju, if I direct the question to you?
Hi, Lucy. Unfortunately, I was just out of my internet connection has been going on and off, so I did not hear the question. Could you maybe repeat it?
Yes, I will. So the question is if there is a Finnish national co-financing available for Finnish partners in this call.
Yes, I did address that in the chat already. In principle, yes, all the calls, there's a possibility to apply for Finnish partners can apply national co-financing. However, for this year 2026, we have not yet received the confirmation of the sum that we are getting to distribute. So currently I cannot 100% confirm it. Normally the decision comes by end of February, so we are able to then give out this information.
Just to clarify, this Finnish national co-financing is a mechanism that can help organizations cover or partially cover the 35% they have to cover themselves. Then we have
another new one there. Where are you expecting young people to find the 35% of co-funding? This is notoriously difficult for them. Yes, we understand that. The partners that we are expecting are organizations, and we expect that the organizations that are applying for this funding, they have to have some sort of funding themselves to back up the work that they are doing. So many times, usually the 35% is the work that they apply to the project. but yeah, it needs to be an organization that can co-finance, that can support the people working for the project.
Thank you. I suggest we first take the questions from the chat and then we can open the floor for people who want to ask. So I see another one from Andre. How startup support is decided and given? What if project is not funded? Annika, could I ask you to step in?
Yes, of course. The startup support that we suggest is for funded projects. So this is not to write your application or in those early stages. So the mechanism that was described in the presentation is to receive a funding in the early stages of the project to get going. So this is only for funded projects.
Thank you. I see in chats that my colleague Christopher answered the question about the Irish National Contact Point. Thank you. This information is also available on our website. And on our website, on the Youth Call page, there will also be available this PowerPoint presentation for anyone who is wondering. And I'm also answering the next question. And also, yes, the age limit that we mentioned before is up to 35. That's answering Reinhard's question. Maybe one more question to Annika, if the co-funding can be covered by in-kind contribution.
Yes, the term in-kind is actually not used in our program. But I think what is meant by that is the working time of somebody engaged in the project. In practice, it means that if you're working in an organization and you have a salary of 100% from that organization, you could have 65% of your costs covered by the NPA program, and then 35% could be the organization you are working in covering for that. I hope that's clear.
There's a nice comment there that for those who are looking for co-financing opportunities on the Norwegian side, I recommend to check out the organization, the Norwegian Barents Secretariat.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa, for mentioning. Yes. And now we have a question regarding the Greenland. How does the situation with Greenland affect planning projects together? How should possible changes in the geopolitical circumstances be taken into consideration?
We can't. We can't. We have to live with the world as it is today and trusting that things will stay good for us. And yeah, I guess it's a bit of the same thing as what happened with the Russian aggression on Ukraine, that then the European Union had to address some changes to the programs after that happened. But as things are now, there's no reason to think that they would be any different. Yeah, don't need to take that into account. But of course, it's very important for the Greenlanders to be even more involved with the European Union and very beneficial for participating in our program and in the Interreg projects.
Thank you. I have a question about the public organizations. What does it mean to be a public organization? Does this mean that they have to be from the public sector, or is the definition broader? Annika, could you maybe help us understand that?
Oh, that's a tricky one. A public organization is an organization which is mainly owned by the public. I don't know how we put it in, but this all is described in the program manual, what is meant. So unfortunately, I don't have the response right now, but I can look it up and come back on that.
Yeah, then we can include it into our questions and answers or frequently asked questions section. Good. Our chat is growing. There is another question about the youth organizations in Iceland, saying that they are usually tiny and made up of volunteers or part-time workers and may not have leaders. Jessica is asking if this would be ineligible to apply. Kalle, what do you think?
Yes, I think it's a case-by-case thing. So it's maybe impossible to, on that information, to give an answer that applies to all. So I would advise to contact us as the Secretariat and explain the situation a bit more specifically, and then we could maybe look into the opportunities and chances that there are. But just with that information, I could not give an overall answer.
Maybe something to consider how to include these organizations would be through the associated partners, because they are not officially part of the project partnership. They don't have the budget, and they could be involved on an occasional basis, if that would work for the project, for example.
That would probably be the likely solution for an organization like that. Yes, I agree.
Thank you. There is a question from Elena about the minimum age requirement and also asking if children can be involved. So I just wanted to highlight that we are supporting organizations working with young people and children. So if an organization is working with children, I don't see a reason why they could not be involved, because our support goes to the organization and the organization itself is part of the project. We have another question from Steinum. Youth organizations are often volunteer-led or largely volunteer-led. Regarding the co-financing, my understanding of the question from earlier is if volunteer time working on the project can be counted as co-financing. Annika, what do you think?
We would probably need to know some more detail, but in general, our eligibility rules stipulate that costs have to be incurred, they have to be in the bookkeeping, and they have to be paid by the organization participating in order to be counted as the match funding in a project. I don't know whether this would be the case or if this is the case where the volunteer time is calculated based on. I would need to have more information on that to give a proper answer. But in general, the funding from the organization has to be something that the organization actually has paid. The cost has to be paid by the organization in order to be eligible. Like in my example, if a person, this is difficult then in these types of organization, but if a person is employed by the organization, 35% of the salary would have to be funded by the organization and 65% by us.
Next question. My organization is a Nordic regional organization with young representatives from all over the Nordics working on biodiversity issues and capacity building. We are based in Denmark and we already have an action plan. However, we need funding to put these action plans in action. What is the detail level you need from us on the application? Right now we have reasons, goals and stakeholders, however not a detailed plan or all actions. Is this funding suitable for us? We are international. We must have a partner in order to apply, even being presented in all Nordics through members. So there's several points and questions. First of all, about the detail. Basically, the more detailed an application is, the better it is. So there needs to be a plan, and that the budget will be built around that plan. So that's for sure. But as said, we have this support that we provide for applicants. So I would recommend taking part in that and sending the project idea so we could have a closer look and see what needs to be developed and what needs to be looked more carefully. Then about the funding and being based in Denmark, again, difficult to say just from this information, to have a look and see what the sort of overall remit for the organization is and how they work and how they benefit the region. Basically, if it was an organization, let's say an UN organization, it could be maybe more easy to justify sort of a global remit on certain topic, but still it needs to be assessed case by case and looked into. So it depends on the activities, where the activities are focused and happening and who's doing it, and does the organization have office inside the region, for example, even if the main office is in Denmark, and so forth. So there's many things to consider.
Thank you. There is also one question whether the limited company owned by the municipality is considered public. What do you think, Annika?
I'm not going to give a definite answer on that one. We need to, like Kalle was saying, look into the individual cases. But if it's set up for the purpose of the general public, it sounds like it would be public, but we would need to look into the case.
And it seems that there are still some questions or wonderings around this in-kind contribution. So I was wondering if Nina, you would like to take a microphone and ask or explain your question so we can help you better.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually before the other answer was given already. I think it's clear now, but yeah, I think it would be nice to consider because I do think the volunteer hours made by youth volunteers are valuable. Thanks.
No problem. We finished the questions in the chat, but I remember I've seen a hand from Gary from Young Irish Film. Do you still have a question?
I might as well throw it in. Yes, I was going to ask more questions about the co-funding, but I think you've answered most of those. And I was actually just, I've looked it up online while I was waiting to find out what part of Ireland is actually covered and what part isn't. So we're a national organisation. I don't think we're in the part that's necessarily covered, but we have a remit with young people aged primarily between 15 and 19 across the country. So I think we're okay. I can still stay part of the conversation. So.
Of course, you're welcome to stay. And
Thank you.
Maybe you can take a note of contact details for Travis if you have any questions to him.
Travis, I've just reached out via LinkedIn, so hopefully you won't reject me.
No.
Great. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Good. Any questions? If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand and we can give you the floor. I see our chat is also turning into a networking platform. That's very useful. I would once again remind you that you can also ask these questions and share your emails in the LinkedIn group. That we will share the link shortly. I'm sure you can also find it yourself on LinkedIn. But for now, the floor is open to questions. Yes. Perfect. If any of you will still come with some questions or comments, you will have our contact details in the presentation. We will share it and upload it on the call page, but you can also find it on our website. Feel free to reach out to us, give us a call, send us an email, set up a meeting. We are all available for that. Any other last comments or questions? No, maybe something that comes to my mind since I see the comment from Kala in the chat. It's always a good idea to check which other projects we funded already. We have a beautiful section of our funded projects on our website, so feel free to browse there. You will not see only what are they doing, but also who are their partners. And this might give you some ideas who to reach to and check what has already been achieved or what can you continue with. So good luck, everyone.